Mike narrates, "We were deployed to OP Rock at the end of summer. My unit had only about 15 men, most of them young. Mission, hold a rocky outpost in the mountains, controlling Taliban supply routes. That outpost was nothing more than a pile of dirt, surrounded only by sandbags, rotten wood, a few rusted steel sheets. Daytime was burning hot, nighttime freezing cold. Supplies came rarely. Meals were mainly rock-hard MREs, and water had to be shared by the sip. We survived by leaning on each other. We had no one else but ourselves. Johnson, the machine gunner, always grumbling but actually kind-hearted. Ramirez, the Puerto Rican radio operator, youngest in the unit. And Sergeant Miller, the old man of the squad, strict, but he treated us like his own sons. On the first day, while digging to set up fortifications, Ramirez's shovel struck something hard. He dug a little more and pulled up fragments of white bone. At first, just ribs, then an entire human skull, with old cracks still visible. The whole squad went silent. Someone whispered, "Must be from the Soviet-Afghan War, back in the 80s. We knew the history. 2 decades earlier, hundreds of thousands of Soviet soldiers poured into this country, building posts all across the mountains. Many outposts were overrun, wiped out. Countless soldiers died, buried in the very slopes they fought on, never taken home. I stared into the empty sockets of that skull and felt a chill crawl down my spine, as if the dead were still staring right back at me." Johnson broke the silence with a forced joke. "Let's hope these Soviets don't come back asking for their house." We laughed, but it was dry, brittle laughter, unable to mask the unease in the air. Deep down, we all thought the same thing. This outpost wasn't just ours. It had already been someone's grave, and maybe they were still here. That night, I was on watch with Johnson. The wind howled through the rocks, long and cold like a whistle that cut through the bones. Far off, in the pitch-black night, suddenly a flash, bright, sharp, like muzzle fire. Then again, exactly the same. I grabbed the radio, nearly shouting, "Gunfire to the east! You guys see that? Clear muzzle flashes!" My heart was pounding, eyes locked on the darkness, terrified of missing something. But silence. No shots. No rounds incoming. A moment later, Ramirez's voice came through the headset, drawn out, half mocking. "Mike, there's nothing but mountains and rocks to the east. Maybe you just need more rest." "It's midnight, man. Don't freak everyone out." Next to me, Johnson chuckled, shaking his head. "Yeah, I think tomorrow you better catch up on sleep before you start crying wolf again." I clenched my teeth, still staring into the black valley, finger tight on the trigger. They could call me jumpy, but I knew what I saw, and whatever it was still out there, watching us. Then came the strange sounds, like whispers cutting through the static of the radio. One night, while we were huddled in the bunker, the signal broke in again. A man's voice, raspy and hollow, speaking in Russian. "Broze Oruzia, lay down your weapons." I froze, blood turning to ice. I swear the voice wasn't just in the radio, it was right behind my ear, cold as death, whispering at my neck. I snatched the handset, stammering, "You heard that, right? Someone speaking Russian." The bunker fell into heavy silence. For the first time, Ramirez didn't crack a joke. He just frowned at the radio, then glanced at Johnson. Johnson dropped the rag he'd been cleaning his gun with, face drained of all color. I heard it too. That was Russian, clear as day. The whole bunker felt suffocating. Ramirez muttered, voice trembling, No, no way. This place is deserted. There's no one out here. No one spoke further. We all avoided each other's eyes. But every mind circled the same thought. Was something unseen here with us? Or were we truly losing our grip on reality? I looked around at my brothers, men who once faced bullets and bombs without flinching, now sitting in silence, hands trembling, eyes clouded with dread. That night, no one dared sleep, and from that moment on, I knew something far beyond our understanding was among us. Even so, we needed resolve, clarity, leaning on one another to survive this nightmare. One night, Johnson shoved his last chocolate bar into my hand. The foil wrapper was crumpled and torn like us, worn out and ragged. He muttered, "Take it, Mike. I know you're starving. It's good stuff. You need to stay sharp in this hell hole." I was speechless. In a place where every shadow could kill us, brotherhood was the only fire that kept us warm, the only light that kept us standing. In hell, only the man beside you kept you from falling. Miller, our sergeant, was different. He clung to discipline like it was the last rope keeping us from falling into the abyss. Every time I or anyone mentioned the whispers, he snapped, "Don't let that crap mess with your head. Taliban out there are the real enemy. Bullets kill people, not some ghost stories." We nodded, pretending to believe. But we all knew, when the sun went down, the enemy wasn't just Taliban with rifles. It was something else, something worming into our minds, into the radios, into our dreams, into the very marrow of our fear. And then it happened. One night, on watch, I saw a figure standing in the mist, maybe 20 meters away. The uniform was ragged, old-fashioned, from another time. He walked slowly across the rocks, boots crunching on gravel. My heart hammered. Thinking it was one of ours, I shouted, "Hey, who's there?" No answer. He just kept walking, fading into the dark. I flicked my safety off and chased, but within seconds he was gone. No footsteps, no dust kicked up, just empty, freezing silence. I froze, breath stuck in my chest. My mind raced. Taliban? Number, if it was real, he couldn't just vanish. I looked down, gravel untouched, no footprints at all. Sweat ran cold down my spine. I muttered to myself, desperate. Maybe I imagined it, maybe. But the more I thought, the tighter my chest grew. A living man doesn't just dissolve into the air. So what the hell did I just see? When I got back, Johnson was at the watch post, glaring at me, annoyed. "What the hell did you see, Mike? Don't scare me like that." I swallowed hard, eyes still fixed on the black void ahead. I swear on everything I have, there was someone out there, or something that looked like someone. A few weeks later, an Afghan interpreter visited the outpost. When we told him, he only shook his head, voice heavy. "You shouldn't be here. This is the land of Amir Hamza. The dead are not at rest. They will drive you away." The bunker fell thick with silence. Outside, the wind moaned through the mountains like a chorus of the dead. He sat down, lowering his voice as if afraid someone might overhear. "Long ago there was a village here. Amir Hamza led his men against the British. The village was burned to the ground, the men killed, women and children buried beneath the stones. They say their souls were never laid to rest. The blood spilled here has never dried." I felt my skin crawl. No wonder the villagers avoided even saying that name. Miller slammed his fist on the table, angry. "Cut the superstition. We're here to fight, not tell ghost stories." His words were firm, full of defiance, like sheer willpower could chase away the fear. But in the interpreter's eyes, I saw no jest, only a silence so heavy, so dark, It felt like the land itself rejected us. The next night, Ramirez screamed in the middle of his watch, his voice tearing through the night. "Someone's inside the storage bunker!" We jolted awake, but before we could move, bang, bang, shots ripped through the dark. Dust exploded, the stench of gunpowder filled the air. We stormed in, weapons up, hearts pounding. The door swung open, flashlight sweeping, empty, only bullet holes gouged deep into the concrete walls. Ramirez stood there, face ashen, hands shaking uncontrollably, eyes wide as if about to burst. He stammered, voice broken with terror. I saw him, a soldier, uniform in tatters, caked in dirt, chest smeared with dried blood, face twisted, skin gray like a corpse left in the sun, and his eyes. His voice cracked into a scream, desperate. His eyes were white, wide open, staring right at me. He was right there, in that corner. We found nothing, but in Ramirez's eyes the horror was raw, seared into him, as if that gaze was still burning through his mind. We exchanged looks, silent. No one dared laugh. No one dared comfort him. The weight of dread pressed down on our chests. In the darkness outside, something was hunting us. That night, none of us slept. Each man clutched his rifle, eyes locked on the shadows. Every gust through the cracks, every pebble skittering across the floor, sent us lurching upright. In the dim light, every face was taut, as if one blink would bring that thing standing right over us again. I've faced Taliban gunfire, been trapped in deadly ambushes, but I was never as terrified as I was in those nights at O.P. Rock. Bullets can kill men, but they can't kill what we faced. And that was only the beginning.